pleasure of knowing him over this past year, and he actually was able to lead one of our side meetings that everybody was buzzing about afterward. And this is a brother that definitely an inspiration to me, and I'm ready to hear what you got to say. All right, this is Amin Ra.
Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Man, to be honest with you, this is such a beautiful full circle moment for me. In 2011, I attended San Diego State University to get my graduate degree in journalism, and there's a lot of beautiful familiar faces in the room that I got a chance to get to know during my time at State, from the professors, to the students, administration, and staff. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful place to be, and so I'm just really excited to be here tonight and to speak at the Saab Signature Program. One of the things I really wanted to do when I came to San Diego State was get involved with the community. I wasn't just going to go to class and study and go home. I wanted to meet the students. I wanted to really get a pulse of this young generation here, because you always say that the future is in our children and in our students, and these are going to be the future leaders of society. So I wanted to get ingratiated with that community and see, okay, what are they talking about? What's going on? What are their feelings? And I'll never forget my first side meeting and coming in. Mick Walsh was the president at the time. And we got in a circle and we did the affirmation. I don't know if you ever watched the lip sync battles, on television. But if you ever come to your first side meeting and see the brothers who don't know the affirmation, they're just like, and so it's always fun to see who's trying to mouth off and who knows and who doesn't. But it's always cool though, because at the end of the year you get to see, okay, everybody's got it, it's solidified, and the principles that they stand by, truly shine through. And it's really another cool thing. When I was here, my name was Edward, or a lot of people knew me as Edward or Eddie. And it was like, I'm sure when people saw, Carson introduced me, who is Amin Ra? What is that? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know about this brother by this name. But after I finished my time here at San Diego State, I had a spiritual awakening here. There's something so beautiful about this state and the energy around California. I just kind of had a shift in perspective on who I was and how I saw each and every one of you. And so it kind of led me on a journey, through history, looking at spirituality, looking at our history, and looking at ancient Egypt in particular. And there's so much beautiful knowledge and wisdom from that time period that we can use to empower ourselves now. So I went back to North Carolina, where I'm from originally, Fayetteville. Any J. Cole fans in the building? Hey, all right. Yeah, so that's J. Cole's hometown. So I went back home and I spent a couple years really studying and getting my tools together, getting my ammunition together to go out into the world and share my story and share my truth in my new identity as Amin Ra. Now, I'm sure maybe you'd be thinking, well, who is Amin Ra? What is that? Well, Amin Ra was the sun god of the ancient Egyptians who created other gods and goddesses and set them on their way. And that's what I do with my public speaking, that's what I do with my poetry, and that's what I do just with my everyday presence. I want to remind everybody that there's a beautiful light and a beautiful power inside of us all, and we can use that to change the world and to move into where we're going today. So I feel like that's a beautiful segue, and it was perfect. I was so excited to be invited here to speak to you, because that light, that awareness is love to me, and it's the most powerful force in the universe. So our theme this evening is Love Conquers All. Now, a lot of us may think, wow, that seems almost like an oxymoron. When you think about love, some people may not always think about power first. So how can love conquer something? And we think about the word conquer, we think about, hate, we think about power, we think about strength, we think about muscle, we think about intimidation or manipulation. That's something that conquers. But love, love is light, love is fluffy, it makes you write all this beautiful poetry and all these other things. But where is the power in love? I feel like that's a lot of things, something that I want to start with tonight. Where is the power in love? And for me, love is powerful because it brings out the weaknesses or the places that need to grow in other people. So when we hear people say, wow, my greatest weakness is that I have too big of a heart. I care too much. People take my kindness for weakness, right? It's like, oh, wow, like you show up in a room, you want to be nice for somebody, and they take advantage of that. Well, when you showed up as yourself, when you showed up as love, and when you show up as love, if people aren't ready to receive that, they can turn into their weakness. They can turn into their shadow. They get intimidated when you step into the room looking the way you do. You're an educated young African-American brother and sister in a space where they're not used to that. And so when you come in, their antennas go up and fear comes. you know? But when you step in as love, you begin to understand that, wow, okay, I'm not the weak one in this situation. These other people are hurting. People who fear us are hurting, because that's where hate comes from. It comes from fear and lack of understanding. So the more you know yourself as love and the more you get to understand your power, the better equipped you are to help other people rise up out of their fear and out of their ignorance, because you can educate them. You know who you are and you know where you come from. And then you know who they are and you know where they come from. And a beautiful thing is we think about, where was the first human being found? Where was the first, fossils of the human race found? Anybody know? Africa. That's correct, Africa. So that means we all have a similar origin on this planet. We all come from a similar place. So we may have different skin colors, we may have different, backgrounds in that sense, but we all come back to the same place. And that's a beautiful, powerful piece of information to have. Because whenever you step into the room, you understand, wow, that's my brother or that's my sister, because we all come from the same tree, regardless of the color of their skin. And so when you know that, that's a very powerful thing to know and to have, and a tool to use in order to show why love and knowledge can conquer ignorance. That's happening a lot today. So that's my first point. I really want you all to resonate and think about that. Think about the times in your life when you've shown up in a space as love and how people have received that. I'm sure we can all come into a certain time when, okay, yeah, that person took advantage of me, but also we can think about a time that somebody met you in love. It could be a romantic partner. It could be your best friend. It could be somebody that was able to recognize who you were, and you could build so many beautiful things. And that's why I'm so happy to be back here, because when I look in the audience today, I see my brothers, I see my sisters that I've been able to meet in love and build and grow some beautiful things, and a lot of my new, friends and interactions here. I see Sauce in the back. Make some noise, Sauce. I had the honor of speaking in front of a Sauce meeting on the return of the divine feminine. We put on a conference in 3 cities, San Diego, Los Angeles, and Pomona. And we demoed the presentation for the young ladies in the back. And I was just so thankful that they allowed me to come in that space and share that energy with them. But I say that to say that, you don't have to know a person to really know somebody. You feel their vibration, you feel their energy, and there's a recognition there. So that's a beautiful thing that love can do. It's another thing that love can conquer. So I want to close in the sense of this concept by talking about the concept of fire fighting fire, right? And a lot of us can kind of attest to that. So I want to show you, when we think about hate, when we think about the things that are happening in our community with the police, with a lot of racism that's coming up now, there's a lot of fire and a lot of hate coming our way. And there's an inclination to want to meet that with hate and with anger and violence. And when you're talking to a firefighter, they'll talk about how fire fights fire. It stops a fire from spreading because it cuts off the things that a fire could feed on. But it doesn't extinguish the fire, right? So if somebody comes at you with hate, and you can come back with them at hate, and you can shut them up, and they can step away with you, but that hate or that vitriol is still there on the inside. It doesn't quell it. It doesn't take it away. The only thing that can extinguish the fire is love. That's the tool you have. That's the power that you have. So just hold on to that and remember that when you move on and whenever you see somebody, you're not weak when you choose peace over violence. You're not weak when you choose education or walking away from a fight. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you powerful and that makes you strong. So I'm also a spoken word poet. I'll be participating in the National Poetry Slam for San Diego. I'm on the team of 5. We'll be in Atlanta in August participating in the national competition. So I'm super excited thank you. I'm super excited to represent this city and to represent you all in that manner. So I want to close my speech today with a poem about brotherhood. And it's dedicated to my beautiful and powerful brothers of the Student African American Brotherhood. So I hope you all enjoy it. Growing up, my favorite movie was The Sandlot. A coming-of-age tale about a young boy moving into a new neighborhood, trying to make new friends and get used to a new father all at the same time. He eventually meets a group of 8 other boys at a local baseball field, and a summer full of shenanigans ensue. But through it all, they became brothers, and the love that they had for each other would always shine through. And every time I watch it, I'm reminded of the brotherly bonds I've created throughout my life. College is probably the closest thing to a Sandlot vibe that I ever got. I was a co-captain of my freshman dorm SEP team that rolled 17 deep. We went everywhere together, practiced hard, broke plenty of school rules, and felt destined for campus-wide fame. But when the night of the step show came, we all thought the first place trophy was in our grasp. And when judges returned their scores, however, we had finished last. Back in the dorm, tears were shed. Expletives flew out of our throats like buckshot, thinking we had wasted all of that time and effort. But a few moments and a broken cell phone later, we all looked at each other, smiled, and laughter swelled throughout the room. We realized that through it all, we had become brothers, and the love that we would have for each other would always shine through. I'm starting to notice today that the brotherly bonds I just described become few and far in between. As men, we avoid eye contact like it was a venereal disease. Our egos clash like titans with 10 times the punching power of Mike Tyson, and we can't even give each other compliments without homophobia rearing its disfigured face. Hey, bruh, I like those pants. Pause, no homo. Hey, bruh, you got a nice smile. Pause, no homo. Hey, bruh, I never knew my own father. You're the closest man in my life that actually ever cared about me. Pause, no homo. Well, I say, forget that. My brothers, I love you. I never pause that, only rewind. My brothers, I love you. I never pause that, only rewind. My brothers, I love you. I never pause that, only redefine this twisted depiction of what a real man is supposed to be. We are complex in our simplicity. A divine cocktail of masculine and feminine energy, all fueled by our energy. And if you ever need help seeing that, hop on top of these broad shoulders, because you are not heavy. You are the Sultan of SWAT, the Colossus of Prout, and the Great Bambino. You, above all, are my brothers. Thank you.